Hey guys, tonight we dive into the shadowy world of Catherine de' Medici, the so-called Poison Queen of France, a woman whose life was a tangled web of intrigue, power plays and whispers of deadly potions in the glittering yet treacherous halls of Renaissance Europe. Imagine yourself slipping into velvet gowns heavy with secrets, the air thick with the scent of incense and ambition, where every smile hides a dagger and every goblet might be your last. You probably won't survive this era's courtly games. Heck, you'd spill the beans on your first conspiracy over a bad batch of wine. But that's the fun of it, right? So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, drop a comment below with your location and what time it is. There, it's always cool to see where in the world you're drifting off with me. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You step off the boat onto the bustling docks of Marseille, the salty Mediterranean breeze whipping at your skirts, carrying the faint, exotic aroma of spices from distant lands. It's 1533 and you're Catherine de' Medici, just 14 years old. A pawn in a grand political chess game orchestrated by your uncle. Pope Clement VII, France looms before you like a vast, unfamiliar tapestry, rolling hills giving way to grand chateaux, where kings and queens play at love and war with equal fervour. Your Italian roots cling to you like the rich Florentine silk of your gown. Born in 1519 to Lorenzo de' Medici, Duke of Urbino and Madeleine de la Tour d'Auvergne, a French noblewoman, you're the product of two worlds colliding. But tragedy struck early, both parents gone within weeks of your birth, victims of illness, or so the official stories go. Whispers in Florence's shadowed alleys suggest poison, a family tradition perhaps. But you push those thoughts aside as you clutch your small chest of belongings, filled with books on astrology and herbs, gifts from your Medici upbringing. The journey to your new life feels endless, the carriage rattling over cobblestone roads toward the royal court. You gaze out at the French countryside, so different from Florence's sun-baked hills here. The fields are greener, the skies greyer, and the people stare at you with a mix of curiosity and disdain. You're the Italian girl, they murmur, their accents thick and mocking. Your marriage to Henry, the second son of King Francis III, was sealed to cement an alliance between France and the Papal States, a union of convenience rather than passion. Henry's not the heir that's his brother. The Dauphin, but politics shift like sand, and you know better than to underestimate your position. As you approach the Loire Valley, the opulent Château de Fontainebleau rises in the distance, its towers piercing the sky like accusatory fingers. This is where you'll meet your fate in a court alive with artists, poets and schemers all vying for the king's favour. You enter the grand hall, the air humming with lute music and the clink of goblets. King Francis I greets you with a booming laugh, his eyes twinkling with that roguish charm he's famous for. The man who brought the Renaissance to France, importing Leonardo da Vinci himself. But beneath the warmth, you sense the calculations. You're an outsider, a Medici, synonymous with banking wealth and Machiavellian cunning. Henry stands beside his father, tall and athletic, his face handsome but distant. He's 19, already smitten with Diane de Poitiers, an older woman who will become your lifelong rival. Your wedding is a spectacle, gold-threaded tapestries, feasts of roasted peacocks and spiced wines. But as you exchange vows in the chapel, you feel the weight of isolation. The French court mocks your accent, your shorter stature, your merchant blood. You smile through it, learning quickly that survival here means blending charm with caution. Nights in your new chambers are lonely, the massive bed swallowing you whole. Henry visits sporadically, his mind elsewhere, but you occupy yourself with studies, languages, history, and the stars. Astrology fascinates you. Your Medici tutors taught you to read horoscopes, believing the cosmos holds secrets to power. One quirky tidbit from those lessons: you carry a small amulet said to ward off poisons, engraved with symbols from ancient grimoires, a fringe belief even among the educated elite. Historians still argue whether your interest in the occult was mere superstition or a calculated tool for influence. Did it guide your decisions, or was it just a way to cope with uncertainty? As months turn to years, you adapt, hosting small gatherings where Italian fashions mix with French elegance. You introduce fork etiquette to the court. Yes, that two-pronged wonder from Italy, shocking the French who eat with their hands. But beneath the surface, tensions brew. Henry's brother dies unexpectedly in 1536, thrusting Henry into the role of Dauphin and you closer to the throne. Whispers of foul play circulate. Was it poison in a cup of water after a tennis match? You weren't involved, of course, but the rumour mill churns, painting the Medici as eternal suspects. You focus on conceiving an heir, enduring miscarriages and the court's pitying glances. Finally, in 1544, Francis is born, securing your position. But Henry's affections remain with Diane, who wears the royal jewels and advises him. Openly, you navigate this triangle with quiet resilience, turning to your ladies-in-waiting. For alliance, the Flying Squadron, as they'll later be called, beautiful spies who gather secrets in bedchambers across the court. Sarcasm becomes your shield. You quip about Diane's age in private, imagining her potions for eternal youth failing one day. The court is a viper's nest. Factions plot against the king. Religious tensions simmer as Protestant ideas seep in from Germany. King Francis favours you at times, calling you daughter, but his health wanes, ravaged by syphilis from his legendary conquests. A historical fact, Francis. His patronage brought masterpieces like the Mona Lisa to France, now housed in the Louvre, a legacy you admire amid the chaos. By 1547, Francis dies, and Henry ascends as Henry II. Your queen now, but in name only. Diane holds the real power, designing your crown jewels and even nursing Henry through illnesses. You bite back the humiliation, focusing on your growing brood. 10 children in 12 years, though many won't survive infancy. One fringe story claims you experimented with fertility charms, including a bizarre ritual involving goat's blood under the full moon. Though that's likely court gossip amplified by time. Scholars debate if you're barren. Early years were due to Henry's rumoured impotence or your own health, perhaps. A Medici curse, they jest. The years blur in a haze of tournaments and treaties. Henry's passion for jousting worries you. You consult astrologers who warn of a golden lance bringing death. You dismiss it lightly, but unease lingers. Court life demands constant vigilance. Poison rings are fashionable. Hidden compartments for toxins a staple among nobles. You collect recipes for perfumes and cosmetics, some with arsenic bases for that pale complexion, blurring the line between beauty and danger. As queen consort, you influence subtly, promoting Italian artists and architects, reshaping French culture, but shadows lengthen. In 1559, during celebrations for your daughter's wedding, Henry insists on jousting despite your pleas. The lance shatters, piercing his eye, fulfilling the prophecy. He lingers in agony for days, surgeons helpless. You stay by his side, whispering comforts, while Diane is banished from the room. He dies, and suddenly at 40, your regent for your 15-year-old son, Francis II, power shifts to you, the Italian outsider, now the most powerful woman in France. The poison rumours intensify. Did you hasten Henry's end to seize control? You know the truth, but perception is reality in this game. With Francis II frail and married to Mary, Queen of Scots, you manoeuvre alliances, facing the powerful Guise family. Religious wars loom, Catholics versus Huguenots, and you position yourself as mediator. Your Medici blood, bankers who rose to popes, teaches you finance's power. You manage the treasury shrewdly, funding armies and arts. A quirky aside, you popularized high-heeled shoes in France to appear taller, a fringe fashion that caught on wildly. As regent, you host lavish ballets, blending dance with politics, your children performing to dazzle nobles. But underneath, paranoia creeps. Assassins lurk. Plots unfold. Historians argue whether your tolerance policies were genuine or pragmatic. Did you truly seek peace? Or was it a facade for control? The court whispers of your poison cabinet, filled with venoms from exotic sources. You experiment innocently, or so you tell yourself, testing on animals for knowledge's sake. One evening, as you gaze at the stars from your window, charting your son's horoscope, you feel the weight of destiny. France teeters on division, and you're the thread holding it together, or the venom unraveling it. Your world shrinks to the cold stone walls of the Palazzo Medici in Florence, the air heavy with the scent of damp earth and flickering torch smoke, as echoes of distant shouts from the piazza below remind you that peace is fleeting. In this city of artists and assassins, you're just a babe when it all begins to unravel, swaddled in fine linens, oblivious to the void left by your parents' sudden deaths. Lorenzo, your father, succumbs to what court physicians call consumption. But the Medici have enemies who whisper of subtler ends. A drop of something colourless in his wine, perhaps. Your mother follows days later. Childbirth complications, they say, though grief alone might have claimed her. Orphaned before you can even grasp a rattle, you're passed like a precious relic to relatives, the weight of your lineage both shield and curse. The Medici name opens doors to opulence, vaults of gold from their banking empire, patronage of Michelangelo's chisel, but it paints a target on your tiny back. You toddle through grand halls adorned with frescoes of mythical heroes, your small hands tracing the cool marble statues that seem to watch your every step. Silk gowns and jeweled toys surround you, but loneliness creeps in like fog from the Arno River. Your grandmother, Alfonsina Orsini, takes charge first, a stern woman with eyes like polished onyx, teaching you the rudiments of courtly grace amid Florence's republican facade. But death stalks again. She passes, and you're shuttled to your aunt, Clarice Strozzi, whose household buzzes with scholars and poets. Here, you learn to read Latin and Greek, devouring tales of ancient queens who wielded power from the shadows. The city outside pulses with life, merchants haggling over spices, artists sketching in the streets, but unrest brews. The Medici's grip on Florence waxes and wanes. Your family was exiled before, and now, with Savonarola's bonfires of vanities of fresh memory, factions plot their return or downfall. By age 7, you're caught in the crossfire. The year is 1527, and Charles V's imperial troops sack Rome, sending shockwaves through Italy. Florence erupts in rebellion against Medici rule. Your uncle, Pope Clement VII, is seen as a puppet of foreign powers. Mobs storm the palazzo, stones shattering windows as you huddle in a hidden chamber, heart pounding like a war drum. The Republican seize control, and you're taken hostage by the Signoria, the city's governing council, to leverage against your papal kin. They parade you through the streets in a cart, jeers raining down like spoiled fruit. Calling you little duchess, with mocking bows, you hold your chin high, remembering Clarice's words, a Medici bends but never breaks. But inside, fear coils tight rumors, swirl of plans to strip you naked and expose you on the battlements, or worse, send you to a brothel as punishment for your family's sins. Sarcasm helps in quiet moments. You imagine quipping to your captors, "If you're going to ruin my day, at least serve better bread than this prison slop." The council debates your fate in heated sessions, some advocating mercy for the innocent child, others seeing you as a symbol to crush. Historians still argue whether this ordeal hardened your spirit or planted seeds of vengeance. Did it teach you the art of survival through cunning? Or was it just another layer in the Medici armor of resilience? You're moved to the Murate convent, a fortress-like sanctuary where nuns in starched habits become your guardians. The cells are sparse, stone floors cold underfoot, but there's solace in the rhythmic chants and the scent of beeswax candles. You befriend the sisters, learning embroidery and herbal remedies, innocent poultices for fevers, Though one quirky tidbit lingers, a fringe recipe for a sleeping draught using poppy seeds and mandrake, whispered as a cure for restless nights but potent enough to fell a horse if mishandled. Years pass in this cloistered world, your education continuing under tutors smuggled in by loyalists. You study astronomy, mapping constellations that promise fortune or folly, and politics. Absorbing Machiavelli's The Prince like forbidden fruit, Florence's chaos ebbs. By 1530, imperial forces besiege the city, starving it into submission. Cannon fire shakes the convent walls, and you pray not just for safety but for the Medici restoration. When the siege ends, Pope Clement's allies prevail, and you're freed. Though freedom means returning to Rome under his watchful eye. The eternal city overwhelms you, ruins of empires past, bustling with cardinals in scarlet robes and artists like Cellini crafting gold wonders. Clement, your uncle, dotes in his way, arranging your betrothal to secure alliances. But his court reeks of intrigue. Poisonings are commonplace. A rival cardinal drops dead at dinner, foam at his lips and eyes turn suspiciously. You blossom into adolescence here, your dark hair and sharp features drawing admirers. But you're no fool. Beauty is a weapon. Trust to luxury. Clement's health fails, syphilis, they murmur, and his death in 1534 leaves you vulnerable again. But the French marriage contract holds, a lifeline amid the turmoil. As you prepare to leave Italy, packing trunks with books and vials of essences, you reflect on these formative years. A historical fact stands out. The sack of Rome in 1527 not only scarred you but reshaped Europe, weakening papal authority and fueling the Reformation's spread. Boarding the galley for France, waves lapping against the hull like whispered secrets. You leave behind Florence's betrayals but carry their lessons in your veins. The Medici motto, Festina lente, make haste slowly, becomes your mantra. You've survived orphans' isolation, Republican captivity and papal machinations. Now the French court awaits, a new arena where childhood scars will forge a queen's resolve. Whispers of your poisonous heritage follow like shadows, but you smile inwardly. Let them talk. Knowledge is power, and you've collected plenty. The sea voyage stretches, days blending into nights under starry skies that remind you of convent vigils. You consult a small astrolabe, a gift from Clement, charting courses both nautical and personal. Landfall in Marseille brings a rush of new scents, lavender fields and sea salt, and the realization that your Italian past is now a tool, not a tether. As the carriage rolls northward, you practice French phrases, rolling the unfamiliar sounds on your tongue like exotic candies. The landscape shifts from olive groves to vineyards, mirroring your own transformation from orphaned girl to royal bride. Arriving at the court, echoes of Florence's chaos fade, but new challenges emerge. You call back to those convent herbs when blending perfumes, a subtle nod to survival skills honed in adversity. The French nobles eye you warily, but you've navigated worse, mobs and sieges. Pale against the subtle barbs of courtiers, settling into your role, you draw on that inner strength. The cheeky resilience that lets you jest inwardly at their snobbery. If they think I'm foreign poison, wait till they taste my wit. The French court glitters like a polished blade under candlelight, but you feel its edge as you step into its heart. A 14-year-old bride with the weight of Florence's scheming streets still clinging to your hem. It's 1533 and you're Catherine de Medici, freshly arrived at the Château de Fontainebleau, where the air hums with lute strings and whispered alliances. The walls drip with tapestries of mythical hunts, but the real predators are the courtiers, their eyes dissecting your every move. You're here to marry Henry, second son of King Francis III, a union meant to bind France to your uncle Pope Clement VII's ambitions. But you're no fool, this isn't love. It's politics, and you're the currency. The French see you as a merchant's daughter despite your Medici blood, their sneers barely veiled as they mock your Italian accent and shorter stature. You probably wouldn't last a day in this snake pit. Without your wits, spill one secret, and you'd be outmaneuvered before the next banquet. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with your location and local time. It's always neat to know where you're drifting off with me.